goes this way with it and I go that way with it. So being, taking that Mark Twain quote uh into account, and knowing that, especially this might be someone that you spent a lot of time with, or this may be someone who at some point or another may have been in a supervisory position over you.
Hmm.
So how do, or it could have been a colleague that you came up with together, and not to look at it from the point of view of any specific person, but just say, when talking to a colleague or anyone else about a topic, how do you make your point? How do you, hold your ground? How do you maintain a position? How do you offer support for that position and not come across as aggressive, not come across as a jerk? How do you, like, what's some of the stuff, or even if you just want to reflect on a specific story, like, is there anything that comes to mind with that?
Yeah, I think the best way to get your point across effectively and without tension is one, being open with it directly, right? When the first thing that you need to do is be in direct conversation with the person, not that you're arguing with, but just the person that you're trying to convey your information with. That's one thing I had to learn the hard way, is when you wouldn't have open dialogue, you created polarization.
Mhm.
And even though you two believed two different things, because there was an open dialogue, those two different things that you believed became polarized and became worsened, and there became tension from it,
Mhm.
right? So had I reflected on that and had open dialogue and patience, I think there's still 100% probably still would have been disagreement. However, there wouldn't have been polarization in the disagreement. I think that's the critical mistake, is creating polarization. Obviously, we see it in politics today, but specifically to what we're talking about, I've had firsthand experience with that, not having open communication. However, when it was not was, but when it is effective, the most straightforward way that gets my point across, and it's specific to exercise and fitness, is that you get to. This isn't debated philosophy and theology of empty words. I get to what I say, I can show you right then and there. I can put into practice. So there's a perfect time with a coach that believed, had an entire philosophy built around a arbitrary set of rules, right? And so he took one of our younger coaches and had him do an overhead squat, but he had him do an overhead squat with specific boxed in arbitrary standards, and said, see, look, this is why he's got all these issues. And instead of going down this path of like trying to explain the entire dilemma about how all of this was loaded, and the fact that you're not accounting for anthropometrics. One, you're assuming that these arbitrary standards are correct. Two, it's extremely loaded in the fact that, hey, these are my rules. If you can't fit into my rules, you're broken. So now let me sell you what I'm trying to sell you, right? That just kind of falls apart on itself. Instead of going down all this philosophical rules and and arguments and things like that, all I simply did was walk up to that younger coach, adjust his hand position based off his anthropometrics, adjust his foot position based off his anthropometrics, and he completed the overhead squat to standard perfectly with no issues. And I just left it at that. And it was, uh, I don't want to say it called his BS, but we just put into practice my belief, and my belief stood firm, and my evidence was supported by my experience. And after that, I mean, there was, what do you say to that?
Right.
So, and again, it's still led to disagreement, because at the end of the day, if you're stuck in your way, you're stuck in your way, and your influences. Um, if you're not, again, it's really hard to be open minded and critically evaluate what you believe. But at the end of the day, there's still disagreement. But it was more. the fact that I did it that way was effective in time management, was effective in practicality, and most importantly for me, I didn't care that I disproved the coach. I cared that I gave a huge insight to that younger coach.
Younger coach.
Like my mindset was focused on the younger coach, not like, ha, gotcha. My mindset was like, boom, I just gave you an opportunity to see like experience and application supported with the evidence, critical thinking to go against status quo, and I got to apply it on you. Like that is priceless for him.